Right, big international news coming in. Zakir Naik terror protege has been unmasked. This news is coming from Singapore. A teenager, barely 18 years of age, radicalized by videos via Zakir Naik, was planning to indulge in terror attacks. This is clearly evidence yet again this time. And remember, this has nothing to do with India. This 18-year-old suspect, as you can see on your screen, by the name of Mohammed Irfan, was radicalized by Zakir Naik, and specifically his videos that were circulating. This teenager got influenced, radicalized, was planning to carry out 3 deadly attacks in Singapore according to their agencies. Singapore has now detained him. This is an 18-year-old IS supporter. He had plans allegedly to attack army camp and grave site. This young man was radicalized after the videos. Remember, this is the Singapore authorities who have given out this official information. He started down the path of radicalization in 2020 after he came across some of these videos on YouTube by foreign extremist preacher Zakir Naik. This statement, as I read, is from Singapore's Ministry of Home Affairs that has clearly stated, and I quote it here, that Irfan made plans to take part in armed violence in Singapore and abroad in support of the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, and that he wanted to live in an Islamic state of Sharia, and that is why he was planning to launch these attacks, not even 19 years of age. So that's the big news coming in. He has been for now detained. Investigation will be on. But how did precisely the Singapore authorities manage to snoop down on this young man? Let's bring in more details on that. Joining me now is my colleague Gaurav Sawant for the latest. Gaurav, it's important because this has nothing to do with India. This is Singapore ensuring that terror is not indulged in on their soil, on their territory. But the shocking bit is this young man is not even 19, barely 18 years of age, and radicalized by the videos of Zakir Naik.
You know, you're absolutely right. Extremely alarming, and not the first time. You'd recall that Zakir Naik and his terror tentacles, through his poison, venomous speeches, had indoctrinated terrorists even in Bangladesh. While there were red flags in India, because of political correctness, people were not going after, agencies were not going after Zakir Naik in India. But it was after the terror attack in Bangladesh that red flags went up and action was taken. And he shifted base first to Malaysia, and after Malaysia now to Qatar. Incidentally, at a time when the World Cup, the Football World Cup was on. But coming to the instant story, so in Singapore, the authorities were keeping an eye on a 19-year-old. His name is Irfan, and he was indoctrinated hearing Zakir Naik's speeches. And he wanted to establish something like the Islamic State Caliphate and carry out terror activities. So while they kept a hawk-eye on him, on his developments, the moment they realized that there was clear and present danger and he could resort to a terror strike, the authorities swooped down and nabbed him. During interrogation, it's appeared that the youngster, this 19-year-old, was indoctrinated by Zakir Naik's speeches. Incidentally, a large number of people had been detained in the past in India, indoctrinated by Zakir Naik's speeches, who unfortunately some political parties and leaders in India, whether for minority votes or whatever reason, kept encouraging while he spewed venom in our country.
And defending Zakir Naik as if he's just a preacher and not really, as you can see, radicalizing young men, not even 19 years of age. And Singapore authorities managed to eventually snoop down, and there could be many more. Radicalization through YouTube and social media is a big issue right now, specifically among young men in the Muslim community. Gaurav Sawant with the latest on that. Gaurav, thank you very much for now.